I'm back. My name is Josh Ivana. I'm brand ambassador for Spirits Platform / Spirits Academy. Today we'll be making a Philadelphia Fish House Punch. Fish House Punch, it's a wonderful combination of rums, brandies, cognacs if you have that dollar. And this is one of the original recipes, so it actually uses cold black tea as well. It started out at a Philadelphia social club, Spookow Fishing Club. I'm not from Philadelphia, I don't know how to pronounce it. I know cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak, that's the same thing. The way I make my Fish House Punch is I use 30 mils of dark rum. I chose to use Black Barrel because it has an extra char using heavily charged ex-bourbon casks. So you get a lot of vanilla notes, a few little spices as well from my heavily alligator char style cask. I also use a brandy. In this context, I used St. Remy Signature. So it's using old St. Remy casks and new St. Remy casks. So you get lots of different flavors from the casks. Then we're using a little bit of peach brandy. So 20 mils of that, and it's adding a lot more fruit flavors. And then 30 mils of black tea, cold, so that's a combination of tannins from the brandies, the tea, and the fruit all coming together to make a beautiful punch style drink. Bit of lemon, bit of sugar, shake and bake, satellite dish garnish, and a little bit of nutmeg across the top. So there's two different ways. There's two different recipes. There's the peach brandy recipe, and then there's the creme de pêche recipe. So the peach brandy is just your brandy using distilled fruits. And then if you look at a creme de pêche, it's more of a liqueur, so it's got a higher sugar content, so you get more viscosity, a little bit more sweetness. So it all comes down to what you prefer in your drinks. Sweetness, tartness, viscosity, all those things. I've chosen to use peach brandy. So I like those real heavy notes of peaches that have been fermented. It just adds more to those flavors of the brandy in itself, the original grape style brandy, and then those sugarcane and molasses notes of the rum. Tea and cocktails has been a thing for a long time. Before we had all these wonderful fruity teas and fruit and spice style teas, black tea was doing a lot of the heavy lifting for punches. It's a way of diluting your punch as well as adding spices and tannins that we might not necessarily get. I find for a lot of drinks that are very rum focused, they tend to be a little bit on the sweeter side. So by putting in those tannins, you're really starting to unlock a different type of spice flavor that you find in your rums. Tannins pair really well to other styles of sugarcane spirits and brandies. They just bond really well together. I think it is a touchy-feely moment, but when you have cold tea, it's one of those things you have to be a little bit careful of because it does tend to kind of oxidize itself and it can become really bitter as well. So if you're finding that your cocktail's coming out a little bit bitter, especially this one, you probably need to make a new batch of tea. And it's really simple. You just make a cup of tea and just let it sit till it cools down. You know, get stuck in conversation. I've got about 50 teacups laying around my house that I sat down and I'll come back to. Garnishes are not just eye-catching, they should bring something to the cocktail. And nutmeg's a fantastic aromatic. Now this is a long drink and it's full of quite fruity and spices, so we want to play on that ever so slightly. And nutmeg's one of my personal favorite spices to put through. It's one of those things, a little bit does go a long way. But what this does is just unlock a little bit of earthiness as well. It's going to bond to the tea, it's going to bond to the brandies, and it's just going to make everything fully rounded and just in a perfect little box. And the best thing about this is a punch, and this is a single serve, so we could always do it in a massive big punch bowl if you are having a party. And one of the best ways about doing that is you just put all your sugars, you put your twists into the punch bowl, leave it for an hour, and then just empty bottles. More punches, the better. I think it's one of the best things about a punch is that they have a long life. If you don't ice up the punch bowl, you can do them as a single serve. They're great ways of unlocking a bunch of flavors that you probably aren't really used to. We're used to lots of citrus, we're used to mints and sweetness in our cocktails, a bit of stir downs or really strong drinks. Here we're combining things that we don't usually throw together in a cocktail at first thought. Rums, spices, brandies, cognacs, rums all put together. And it's probably one of the best things about a punch. It makes a lot of people happy, makes you happy. It's not a lot of fuss. It's pretty no nonsense really at the end of the day, and I love that.